They see me strolling, they hating, strolling, trying to catch me strolling dirty, trying to catch me strolling dirty, trying to catch me strolling dirty. Do you not like my flow, bitches? Smashing facial hair. Ooh, riveting. I mean, I don't know what this has got to do with everything. Alright, cameraman, we get it. You think he's attractive. You don't have to force it on all of us. I'm straight, man. No homo.
Would I class myself a feminist? Absolutely, I would. 100%.
Oh well, bruv. I hate to say it, but you're cooked.
I know there's like a stigma about it, just because it's called feminism and not meninism or whatever.
Blood, but I have to say this, right, bruv, but right, that's a straw man. Like, nobody ever says that there's some kind of stigma against being like a feminist or something. And I have you know, right, blood, that meninism is simply nothing but a what do you call it? A satire. It don't really exist, Brad. There's more stigma against being a non-feminist than there is a feminist, despite the fact that there's 80% of people. And so I'm sorry, blood, but I just don't get it.
We say stuff like mankind, and we think that's harmless.
I'm really sorry, blood, but it is harmless. A word isn't going to harm someone when it references the entire human race. You do realise mankind is short for humankind, right? Oh wait, human must hurt people as well because it has the word man in it. Blood, seriously.
Anything that's to do with a woman, generally speaking, we have a habit of hating.
Citation needed, blood. I'll have you know that what can be asserted without evidence and can be dismissed without evidence. Blood.
Do I think men are defensive because they don't want to forego any of their privilege? Yeah. And they don't know they got privilege.
So much wrong, blood. So much wrong with that. You say that men are defensive. That they don't want to, give away these privileges that they don't even know they have. So, I don't know. What do you mean, mate? What do you mean? Doesn't make sense. You contradicted yourself in just one little sequence. It's beautiful. It made me laugh.
The things you can do that women can't. And you don't want to accept that the only reason you can do that so freely is because you're a man.
But what are these things then, mate? What are they? Give me a list. What rights and what things can a woman not do that a man can? Because as far as I'm aware, we have all the political rights, but what it boils down to is kind of prejudice and what's been going on in the courts. I can give you rights that we don't have. We don't have a right to our bodily integrity. We have 18% of British people have no choice in the matter when they're circumcised, because they're circumcised at birth. Others do in a later date. We do not have any effective form of birth control other than condoms at the moment, although they are creating a male pill, but that's not on the market yet as far as I'm aware, as of. So we don't have any power over whether or not we can make babies. We only have something that's 97% effective, yet women have all these options. And let's not forget, in the courts, especially in the criminal system, where women are less likely to go to jail. In fact, between you and me, as two BMEs, as they like to call us nowadays, we are far more likely, along with white guys, you're referring to men in general, so we'll keep it men in general. Doesn't matter what your race, you are far more likely to have a more strict sentence than a woman because you're a man. You will be less favoured. In fact, you will not be favoured at all over a woman. You will not get equal parity under the civil courts when it comes to families and who gets the children, who gets the alimony, etc., etc. And yet apparently women can't do things that men can do. Please explain. Again, you're just asserting without evidence, so maybe I could just dismiss that without evidence. But I dismissed it with evidence, so you're lucky there, mate.
You think you're an individual, you think that you're just good at something, confident, brave, strong.
I may be all these things that you list, but come on, I'm not arrogant. But in all seriousness, yes, I am an individual. We are all individuals. Are you seriously trying to now collectivise this argument? You're trying to generalise all men in order to suit this stupid argument that you concocted on the fly on this stupid student video, which it looks like. It's a very well made student video, don't get me wrong. But this is not advancing your social justice cause, lad, alright? Let's just get that out the way. Who cares if I'm an individual? Okay? I still do not have privileges that you say I do. Well, you didn't actually list any privileges. In fact, what is male privilege? Because you never ever tell us what this shit is. You never do. So I'm still waiting. And I don't know what me having to be an individual has to do with this.
Smart. No, it's because you're a man.
Well, I am smart. I mean, I do have a degree, you know. Read it and weep, Kevin Logan. Read it and weep. This is how you get a history degree. I don't think that because of my gender. I don't really think about my gender an awful lot, really. I think about other stuff that I am not going to make you privy to. I think these things about myself. I mean, I'm not strong. I mean, if you're talking about, I don't know, I mean, look at that. That's not particularly a strong forearm, is it? I mean, I could show you my biceps, but my shirt, you know. I don't have a strong physical body apart from the legs because I used to run. But apart from that, I rely on my mind, you know. I'm very much a mind over matter person, I guess. So, yeah, that's not because I'm a man, that's just because, you know, it's me. When we think of ourselves as all these things, it's not because we're guys, but because we're individuals. As much as you try to paint that and strawman us into that, that is not the case, because, as usual, you aren't giving us any evidence, blood.
And the world we live in favours men.
Citation needed. The world apparently favours men. When those examples I just gave you suggests otherwise, but never mind.
One of the reasons why men are so defensive about feminism is because to truly understand feminism, you have to truly understand yourself.
Don't start giving me that bullshit, blood. Alright, look, listen here, mate, right? To understand an ideology, you do not need to understand yourself. Are you implying that feminism is, it's totally not understandable to plebs who don't know themselves? Oh no, you need to know yourself before you become a feminist. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. An ideology can be perfectly understood without somebody knowing themselves. How many people in this world actually know themselves? Like, absolutely, truly know themselves? Because we change all the time. Not just, every minute, but over time. We change. We're not the same person we were in the past as we are now. So, what the fuck? But anyway, that's besides the point. I'm getting into bullshit there, but that is stupid. So, you have to be one with your feels in order to understand it. No, I can read a book. I can watch a feminist on YouTube. I can watch their actions. I can see what they're doing everywhere and understand completely what they're all about. And I can understand what the sex positives are for, what the sex negatives are for, what the rads are for, what the Christina Hoff Summers types are like, what Camille Paglia likes, what she's for, what they're all for. I know exactly what they're for. I do not need to know myself, to understand myself, to know what it's about. That is quite a religious, spiritual argument to go for. It's like, oh, you can't truly understand Christianity until you're one with yourself. That's like, it's almost like Buddhism. Like, you can't understand the Buddhist teachings unless you achieve nirvana and be one with yourself. It's like, no, mate, fuck off. I understand what he meant.
And when a modern day patriarchal man is faced with himself, it's really not a nice sight to see. And I can say that from experience.
So, your own personal experience is now an example and a generalisation of every person, every man who's had to face themselves. They stare into the abyss stares back into them, and it's not a pretty sight. It's never a pretty sight to come face to face with personal demons, but that's nothing to do with feminism. That's nothing to becoming a feminist. Or maybe in the way you got indoctrinated, maybe it was. Maybe they took advantage of those insecurities that you have, and now you became one because you thought that could somehow sort out whatever it is wrong with you. I got news for you. You don't need it. You've been brainwashed into a cult, mate. But never mind. That still doesn't make sense. It's not a factual argument. You just talking bullshit right now. It's all spiritual mumbo jumbo, and they say that it's not a religion.
It was shocking to see that that's what I was like and that's what I would do, not realising the reasons why I was doing it. But it was also a really liberating feeling, like now I can see it, I don't have to be like that anymore.
My mind doesn't even compute what you just said then. So let me get this straight. You were a patriarchal person. You didn't know what your privileges were, but now you found out what your privileges are, but you still can't quite explain your privileges. Yet now you're not like that. Are you just saying that you were cooked? Is that what it is? You're a cuckold? Is that really what you're saying here, mate? You're a beta male? You were once alpha, but now you're beta? I don't know. I don't know what you just said there. That was gibberish. That's something that a religious person says when they're trying to explain why they converted. It makes no sense.
This thing that I'd feel in my whole life was articulated as, and I was thinking, oh, that's why I always feel a little bit less whole.
Come on. All right. So what you're saying is that without feminism you feel less whole? Is that kind of like saying that without God you feel less whole? Just trying to get this out the way, guys. I don't have a fucking clue what this guy's on about at this point. It's all gibberish.
Growing up, like, the pressure for things that you thought you had to do, like, it didn't feel natural. Deep inside, it's like, why does that feel weird?
Life is full of many pressures, mate, alright? Men have a lot of pressure, women have a lot of pressure. It is natural. Men do have to provide, if not for themselves, then for other people. It's the way the world works at the moment. And it has worked for a long time. I know some people can't handle those pressures, but joining a political cult like feminism, hell, it's even religious at this point, is not going to help those pressures. Those women are just going to, in feminism, and the men in feminism, are going to heap ever more societal pressures on you because they expect you to sort all their problems out. Why do you think it's he for she, not he with she? Why do they always call upon the politicians to sort their problems out? I'm just wondering. A man has to provide for himself and for his family and all sorts, and they have to find a job, they have to pay the rent. You know, they have to, you know, they do, and in some ways have to conform to some kind of societal norm. Everyone does. It's up to you to say, I don't want to. You don't have to join a cult to do so. I certainly didn't join a cult to say fuck you to society and all the normies, did I? They already told me that I wasn't welcome as someone with Asperger's, so, Anyway, that was probably in school, but nonetheless, you don't need a cult to relieve the pressure. But, oh well, that's what I'm getting. And also, are you trying to come from this from a gender perspective, gender identity politics thing, like, oh, I couldn't handle this pressure that men forced on me. Men didn't force it on you. People as a whole forced it on you. People expect you to be this way. You don't have to be that way. You don't have to. That's your personal choice. They're not saying you literally have to. It's what they expect. An expectation isn't necessarily something that you have to be. They're not saying you have to be this. I've got you at gunpoint. No, they're more like, well, we'd like you to be like this, but whatever. If you don't want to, don't be like that. You know, whatever. You know, we may or may not judge you because some people are judgmental bastards. Some are not.
But everything else is telling you that's exactly what you need to do as a man.
Like I said, you don't have to, mate. But some of them are hallmarks of being a man. You know, financial independence, you know, being a provider, etc. These things are still important today. They're not as important as they used to be. You don't have to do this, mate. You don't have to. Nor does this make you privileged. Nor does this make anyone unequal. It's just the way the world works right now. Okay? You don't have to conform. Nobody's stopping you. Nobody is trying to force you to be who they want you to be. You're letting them force you to be what they want you to be. And maybe that's not being a man, is it?
It is a bit scary because as a young man, I was faced with the words like sexism, and I was given a definition, hating women, not giving someone a job because they're a woman. I'm thinking, I'd never do that, so therefore I'm an angel. That's dangerous. You can hate a woman in so many other ways without saying I hate you.
Somebody gave you the wrong definition of sexism, mate. Sexism is defined as discrimination against anyone on the basis of their sex, their gender. Okay? That means man, woman, trans, whatever, you know? That is not to do specifically with women. That is feminism redefining words as usual to suit their narrative and their argument and to push their propaganda. Because, you know, we can't be having sexism against men. It doesn't exist, does it? If it existed, that means we have to have gender equality now. And that means people like you wouldn't be brainwashed, because then you'd say to them, I'm sorry, but that's not true, because as it states here in this book called the Dictionary, which you so love to use in your arguments every time, mainly to show us the definition of what your movement is, although not quite your strand, is it? But I digress. What it means, well, this is what sexism means, and what it has always meant. You do not have the power to change the word. You do not. It does not mean hatred of women. It does not mean discrimination of women, because that would be misogyny, wouldn't it? Not sexism. But again, these words have been so diluted and used so much often that they lose their power now, which is probably what these feminists want. So yeah, no wonder you think it means hatred of women. It doesn't. It means hatred of someone based on their sex, and it's discrimination based on their sex. It's nothing to do with power, nothing to do with just women. It's to do with everyone who lives on this goddamn planet. But gender equality, what is that?
I think patriarchy does split your soul into little bits. I'm sure everyone knows the feeling when they have to work a 9 to 5. Whether they can articulate it or not, they know they're serving a system that doesn't benefit them and ultimately is taken away from them. They have to put that part of their heart away in order to complete their shift, and patriarchy's like that, but just obviously a million times worse.
Okay, you are a brainwashed minion of feminism, and you are beyond help, mate. You are beyond fucking help, blood, alright? Patriarchy does not exist. You've not actually described what patriarchy actually is. What you have described is the economic system of which we live in at the moment, of the jobs that we currently inhabit. Capitalism. No, I don't mean the jobs, I mean the economic system is capitalism. That's what you've described. You've described an unfair system. It is an unfair system, just like feudalism was, and now communism also is unfair, as they like to say, you know. That is not patriarchy. How is patriarchy worse than the British system of capitalism, where the rich become richer and the poor become poorer? Although that is the case everywhere around the world, it has always been the case here. We have always had a classist society, which is what you're actually describing. You're not describing a patriarchy, you're describing a place where people work 9 to 5 and are finding it difficult. You're just arguing against something that has nothing to do with gender or patriarchy, mate. Okay? You're arguing on something that we actually would agree on, that I think this is an unfair system in which we live in, but it has nothing to do with gender. It has more to do with wealth and class. Although that said, as I mentioned before, there are some cases where it is to do with gender, but mostly really against men, not women. But, you know, let's see what you have to say, blood.
Which is why men can't cry.
Men can cry. Men are allowed to cry. It's just men psychologically do not want to cry. That is why. We do not express ourselves in the way women do. And that's okay. That's nothing to do with some mythical patriarchy. That is psychology. That is biology. That is science. We act differently. We react differently. Sometimes it is okay for a man to cry in public for whatever reason, be it someone died in the middle that they knew, the street, for example, and you cried. That would be okay. That would be okay. That would be fine. At a funeral, and you cried, that's fine. If your team, your favourite football team, for example, won the World Cup or the Premier League on the last day of the season with a massive goal, you're allowed to cry, because it's cries of happiness, not cries of sadness. Although even if you lost, you would also be allowed to cry. Football players cry too. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is socially acceptable, of sorts. If you can call it socially acceptable. I think it's just more, you know, what is okay, as in what looks good and what doesn't make you look like an idiot. And it's the same with women. I think the women are giving a bit more leeway. But if a woman cried over something as little as breaking a nail, which I know is a stereotypical example, they would just be ridiculed as well. Because nobody cries over that. You're an adult. You're not a child. And that's just like how a man would cry. Say if a man cried after being, you know, I don't know, he had a bit, there was too much banter or something. He couldn't handle it. Or if, again, he broke a nail. Men can break nails. You'd be seen as an idiot. Just like that woman would be seen as an idiot. It has nothing to do with patriarchy. It has everything to do with how we are as people. And just what is acceptable and what really is acceptable as an adult, not as a man or a woman per se. That's wrong there. Jesus Christ. I mean, men can cry for fuck's sake. I can cry right now if I wanted to.
I'm one of the men who's trying to get back to the gift of crying. When you split your soul so much, there's some things that you can't do as a human anymore, and part of that is crying.
Men have always been able to cry. Patriarchy doesn't exist. It cannot split your soul. Your soul doesn't exist. You don't have a soul. You see, this is where things are starting to get really spiritual and freaky right now, and it's driving me round the bend, you idiot. Look, patriarchy breaks my soul. I just want to cry. Cry. Fucking cry, mate. Cry. Cry, cry, cry. Nobody's stopping you. Nobody's stopping you from having a good week for whatever reason. They may look at you and think you shouldn't be crying about that, but others might give you some, condolences and help you feel better. If you want to cry, go and fucking cry. The patriarchy didn't stop us crying before, and they're not going to stop us now. What the fuck? It's just the way humans are. It's cultural things. There are more, I bet in France there's more things to cry about than there are over here. Because, as a nation, we are very emotionally introverted anyway. I don't know why, we just are. And we've opened up over the last 20, 30 years or so anyway. So what are you complaining about? Just cry. Patriarchy isn't stopping men. It has never stopped men. Oh, because it doesn't exist. That's why. Jesus Christ, you are a special case, man.
You can't connect with people anymore because you're this machine where it's sex and money. That's what I'm alive for, and nothing else matters. And everything else is to get one of the other two.
Only a brain-dead feminist would believe that. And only a brain-dead feminist would think that that's what all men are worth. That's projection. That's not what I personally think life is all about. That's definitely not what my friends think that is about. I certainly haven't seen anybody else think that, other than crazy people, idiots. Life is not about sex and making money. If you genuinely believe that, or at least you did believe, and you genuinely believe that other people think this way, then you have a skewed view of reality. And no wonder you're a feminist, because only a person with something like that could be one. I don't understand where this comes from. I have never been told that is what life is. Life is what you make it. That's what I've been taught. What have you been taught? Oh, you've been told that life is this set thing created by the patriarchy. Patriarchy tells men, sex and money! No, just no. I was mocking you before, but now I just lost the will to live.
Crying has such a stigma about it, but that's all bollocks to me. Like, if you cry, you're strong and you're more whole. You have integrity, and if you can't, your integrity has been taken away from you.
There is no stigma when it comes to crying, when it comes to men. Look, men can cry, but it takes very specific emotions and times of place in order to cry, in order for it to be acceptable. For an adult, really, kids cry at little things. Adults get on with it and try to be better. They try to improve. Men don't have time to cry, really. We have so much on our plate. Look, it takes something very special for us to cry. I've always said there is no stigma. And if a man can't cry, if he can't express his emotions, that's because either he can't express it, and he needs to, not, I wouldn't say learn, but he needs to become less stuck within himself. Men just do that. We keep it inside, we bottle it. Not always. I mean, we do have people we confide in, but we don't do it in the way women do, which is a bit more open. They tend to just put it out there on Facebook. Men, not really, unless they're really stuck in a bad place. We tend to bottle up and try and get on with it. That's what we were taught. You're not going to get anything in life. So, if you don't ask for it, or if you don't do it. If you don't do it, you don't get. Women aren't really, brought up that way. Women tend to get everything they want because, as Dr. Randall McCann loves to quote, humans are more aware of a baby girl's cry than they are a baby boy's cry. So, basically, a baby boy is going to learn quickly that his cries are going to fall on deaf ears because his twin sister or the other baby that he lives with has cried louder. And that's just the way humans have evolved to raise their kids and have begun to thought for millennia. It's not a stigma, and there is no integrity lost. I do think it makes things unfair, sure, but I haven't lost my integrity at all. I think I've gained integrity for learning to control my emotions and to learn from my mistakes and not cry about it and think, oh no, won't somebody help me? No, I'll help myself, thank you. And anyway, next up, it's going to get even worse, people, so be prepared.
As far as I know, I don't know if there's any platform for men to talk about patriarchy.
Yes, there is. It's called having a discussion on YouTube, on the internet, in public. Go up to someone and talk about it. You have freedom of speech. And here's something that I needed to tell. Feminists are constantly telling men to be open about their feelings and, cry more. Just be human. Tell us about your emotions. Tell us everything. We can help you. Oh no, we don't want... Stop crying, you mangina. Stop that, please. Oh. Toxic masculinity. Oh my god, this is what happens when a guy expresses himself. Oh my god, he's killing people. Oh. So, what can we do? We're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't. Let's be honest, nobody likes an emotional crybaby. We like people who are in control. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, back to this matter at hand. You have a platform. It is enshrined in law. You have the internet. You are literally talking about it now in this fucking video. You have... Whoever made this video is your platform to talk about the mythical god known as patriarchy. Oh wait, he's more of a demon than a god. But who gives a shit? Anyway, every religion needs a demon. Not necessarily a god. You're talking out your ass. Every time feminists are saying like, oh, they're speaking up, women don't have any voices, while they're going to the UN complaining about cyber violence and initiating he for she. So, please, don't give me that crap.
So it can get quite lonely because the whole world is telling you you're wrong about treating women equally. The whole world is telling you you're wrong to be a man and a feminist.
That is a straw man. The whole world is not telling you that it's wrong to be for social and economic and gender equality. I think you'll find most of the world, at least in the Western world at least, that's what you really mean. Because the world has differing opinions on how these things work. I mean, your babes over at Saudi Arabia who are currently the Human Rights Committee at the UN, they're leading that now, as much of a farce as that is. They have a completely different view of what constitutes gender equality. Which doesn't sit well with you guys, but we can't criticise them because that's racist, apparently. But that's probably digressing from the point. The whole Western world is at an agreement, at least most of us, 90% of us, are in agreement that men and women are equal. That everyone is equal. That we have equal rights by the law, we have equity, we have equality of opportunity, and... You wouldn't. How many people will you meet on the street that doesn't agree with that? You'll find very few. So you're wrong there. You're strawmanning the entire world, and then you're saying the whole world disagrees with you being a male feminist. No, nobody is saying that you can't be a male feminist. That you shouldn't be for that. Shouldn't be that or whatever. Most of the world are not. But they don't hold it against you. They're saying you can be whatever you want you can be. You can be whatever. That's you in your head. This is all in your head. Or you've made it up to create some argument where there is no argument. Because you've not actually argued any points whatsoever. It's all emotional bullshit at the moment. It's all straw men and that, and things that you can't prove. You can't prove that the whole world is against you. Because this is victimhood in practice, people, that the whole world has to be against this guy because he's a man and a feminist and he's for equality, which really he's not for equality because he's in a hate group of all things, isn't he? A group that is actually against his gender. He is nothing but a tool. I don't know what kind of male feminist he is. I mean, I don't know if he's a Steve Shives Mangina type or the Kevin Logan type. Was it Kevin Logan that was the Mangina? I don't know. Goodfella kind of got it wrong. You know, Steve Shives is genuine. He's got a wife. Why would he need to do this with a pussy? It doesn't make sense to me. Kevin Logan, on the other hand, yes. But maybe we're digressing from the point, people. But you see what I mean? This guy is a legit male feminist. You can tell. I don't think he's trying to, in any way, say that I'm here for the pussy. You know, yeah, I'm only doing this to make them feel good. No, this guy is the real deal. And he's going to have a rude awakening when they eventually turn on him.
It'll be nice to have other men who think similarly to you or have thought about the things you've thought of.
Then, go on the fucking internet. There's fucking loads of
Black men do not have it harder than black women.
Citation needed.
Full stop.
Oh, no evidence then.
Considering my personal experience with racism and considering my understanding of patriarchy, the burden that must be on a black woman's shoulders must be huge.
So basically, you're saying that this is all down to your anecdotal evidence as a black man, not as a black woman. That does not give your argument any credence. That is not evidence to say that black women have it worse. How do you know that? You're a man, not a woman. And you've not given me any evidence so far. So what can be dismissed? So I will just dismiss this without any evidence. Because you didn't provide me any.
Black men, their experience with racism is the thing that, in my opinion, gives them more of a chance of understanding patriarchy. If you understand what it's like to not feel human because you're black, then you understand what it's like to not feel human because you're a woman.
Oh, that's unequivocally stupid. Race is not the same as gender. And apparently you do not. Patriarchy has nothing to do with racism. It has nothing to do with sexism at all. Because it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Black men are sexist. Black women are sexist. White men are sexist. White women. Every race is sexist. Race has nothing to do with sexism. Just because this guy's experienced some kind of prejudice does not mean that he understands what it's like to be a woman and how women are discriminated against. Just like how these feminists claim to understand how men have it bad and want to help us, yet do nothing about us. They don't help us at all, because they don't understand. They claim to understand. They write books about us, yet they do not understand. There was a woman who made a book about fucking white straight men doing homosexual acts. Even though when you look at it at its core, it's not really homosexual. It's things forced upon them that they have to basically have sex and kiss other men because there's no women around. It's the urge. It's not a homosexual urge. It's just an urge to have sex. Everybody has that, apart from asexual people. She didn't understand that. And also she was talking about things like no homo and little things that are just banter that me and you would understand very well. She does not understand that because she's a woman. She doesn't talk to men. She doesn't, well, she does talk to men, but she doesn't talk only to men. She's not in men's only circles, is she? She wouldn't understand that. Yeah, if we would do that, we'd be branded as sexists. You do not understand that just because you're a black man. And let's just keep it on race, right? I'm mixed race. I've got Asian and black ancestry. And let's just get... I was once coming out of the shop with some beers, and I was just minding my own business. I didn't say anything. And I walked past these two black guys. Because, you know, I live near Old Trafford, Hume and Cholton and Whalley Range. This is in my town. These are areas, and it's a very mixed area altogether, especially Old Trafford. And one of them kicked me and said... and called me a white guy, and also some racial slur, even though I'm not white. I'm mixed race. That was racist, and he had kicked me. I could have gone back and twatted him if I wanted to, but there was two of them, and they were bigger than me. At least not comparative weight size, but they were tall. So I'm at a disadvantage in numbers and height. So apparently they would understand prejudice. No, they would not understand it because people are not like that. That is not how prejudice works. That's not how empathy works. Because why does it stop other black men from being sexist towards other black women? And vice versa. If they're getting racial abuse from other races. It doesn't work, mate.
Sometimes you can't see the shoe on the other foot because the shoe was never meant to be on the other foot.
And it doesn't mean that a black man would understand sexism just because he's dealt with racism. I don't understand sexism from a female perspective, just like I wouldn't expect them to understand the sexism that I've had to deal with. It doesn't work like that.
When you're white, you never walk around thinking, how many things can I do today and how many things can't I do today because of the colour of my skin? But you do when you're black. That's the thing that made me think, hold on, how many times did I wake up thinking, I'm a man? What can I do today because I'm a man? And when I thought about the reverse, well, of course, women, they must think about that. They don't know when the next person is going to use a word as offensive to them as the word nigger is offensive to me in open conversation. And that's where I really started to understand how it's a bigger problem than racism. Today,
do you know that? How the fuck do you know that white people do not suffer prejudice and are not thinking, oh, I can't go into that area because I'm white and I might get beat up? You don't understand their experiences, but you're going to say you do anyway and talk about their experiences. This is the problem with social justice warriors. You think you know everything about everyone because you're oppressed. Well, you don't. What do you think of me? What do you think of my experience as someone who can pass as anything? I could pass as black. I can. I have. People have thought I was. Obviously, thought I was part black, which I am to an extent because of my Trinidadian roots. I have roots in both the black community there and the Indian community there. So I can pass as all three, and I have. But I know I'm just mixed race. People don't know that. I don't judge them on that. What do you think it's like being a mixed race person who can go around different communities and be seen as one of them or not one of them? You don't know that, do you?
I'm not going to walk into a cafe and I'm never going to hear someone say nigger. I'm not going to hear that. But I could walk into a cafe and hear someone say bitch or cunt.
Or what? Women also use those words. They also use those words against other women and other men. They're actually non-gendered terms. Funnily enough, yes, a cunt technically means a woman's vagina, but so what? It can also mean a dickhead of any gender. In fact, in Australia, it means dude. It's a word that binds people together. It is the national word of that country. They use it for everything and everyone. But, you know, no gendered insults, because they're as bad as racial insults.
As in a group of guys are scrolling through Instagram and saying, yeah, I'd fuck that bitch. And that's okay.
It's their right to say it. They're not harming anyone just because they say, I'd fuck that bitch. I've said it. You've probably said it before you drank the poison Kool-Aid. You've probably said it. So what? They use the term bitch. They're not actually saying that she's a horrible person. They just mean it literally. She's a girl. I'd have sex with that woman. That's what they mean. They're not harming anyone. Nobody's been harmed by words. What, do you think some woman's heard it halfway around the world and go, ah! Do you think that's going to happen to someone? No. No one's harmed in some lad saying, I'd fuck that bitch. I mean, you know, they're just talking to each other. I don't know if they're catcalling this girl or not. And even if they are, the girl's not harmed. Not going to get PTSD.
In our society, when I talk about feminism, I get people arguing that's just the way it's meant to be. Because they think that, because it's so internalized, it's so insidious.
It's their right to say it. They're not harming anyone just because they say, I'd fuck that bitch. I've said it. You've probably said it before you drank the poison Kool-Aid. You've probably said it. So what? They use the term bitch. They're not actually saying that she's a horrible person. They just mean it literally. She's a girl. I'd have sex with that woman. That's what they mean. They're not harming anyone. Nobody's been harmed by words. What, do you think some woman's heard it halfway around the world and go, ah! Do you think that's going to happen to someone? No. No one's harmed in some lad saying, I'd fuck that bitch. I mean, you know, they're just talking to each other. I don't know if they're catcalling this girl or not. And even if they are, the girl's not harmed. not going to get PTSD.
Women internalize patriarchy and speak in the same way men do in order to survive, but the master's house can't be destroyed by the master's tools.
I don't know what he just said at the end. I mean, I really don't. I mean, I'm English, and I'm aware of all the different fucking accents we have. I don't understand the word he said at the end then. It was like, what are you? A flower pot man? Patriarchy. Are you a clanger? Anyway, enough about that, but seriously, you just accuse women of internalised misogyny, but you're saying they internalised how do you internalise patriarchy? That's like you're saying they're being, like, infested with dark, evil spirits that have taken them over, and it's turning them into men. Women are women! Women are allowed to be women. Nobody's stopping them from being women. There are women who are tomboys, but that's the way they are. Just like there are some men who are slightly feminine. That's the way people are. It's the way they are. It's nothing to do with them internalising patriarchy. What the fuck? Do you want us to do away with gender roles or not? Make your mind up.
When I use the word cunt or bitch in jest, I really am just as bad as the person who's raping people.
Holy shit, you are one cuckolded motherfucker. Listen here, blood, right? Just because you say the word bitch and cunt, that does not make you right, blood. That does not make you as bad as a rapist. Oh my god. Did you just say... You even saying it as a joke will make you as bad as a rapist. You are not a rapist. You're just a person who used words. Are we seriously trying to police thought and words to such an extent now that we have to make these words make someone feel like a rapist? Is this what these bastards have done to you? Jesus Christ.
Well, I think that might sound like a really outlandish statement, but that's what it is. Because, again, as a black man, someone who calls me nigger is just as bad as the person who lynched my brother down the road.
My nigga.
Fucking hell. Where to even begin with that? Again, it is not even comparable. Not even comparable. You cannot imagine what it's like to be lynched. Your brother was not lynched. Okay, be it real blood brother or friend brother, that never happened in the UK as far as I'm aware. We didn't have that problem. We only lynched people who committed crimes, or we sent them to Australia. But that's besides the point. That is besides the point. Calling someone a word, so, you know, no matter what it is, makes them comparable to the worst possible people in the world. So, calling someone a bitch or a cunt, which, you know, you didn't specify which gender, but I'm going to assume you mean women, is as bad as being a rapist. Calling someone a nigger, be it, you know, I don't know, it could be a black person calling another person, a black person, a nigger, because you know what, you know, it's, you know, for some nigger, you know, stuff like that, you know? Jesus Christ. I mean, they're as bad as people who lynched people back in America, in the deep south. You're British. You were born here long after that fact. And we didn't, and again, like I said, we don't really have a history of that. I've never read that anywhere in post-war Britain of that happening. Or pre-war Britain happening. Nobody got lynched. There were no pogroms. In the Victorian era, there was no lynchings. Only, again, capital punishment for crimes. You know, I'm not for that anyway, but that's besides the point. That is stupid. That is thought crime. You're trying to attack these. You're trying to put these words into these definitions and associate them with these things that they shouldn't really be associated with. At least, you know, within the context that you're talking about. I know that word in the context of lynchings in pre-civil rights America, of course, it has that connotation. Of course it does, in that context. But in the context where it's two friends calling each other that, or you're using it in art or something, no, that does not make you as bad as a lyncher or a KKK member. Nor does making art with bitch and cunt and calling someone a bitch and cunt, no matter who they are, even though you mean women, makes them as bad as a rapist. No. You're trying to create some kind of crazy association with the word bitch and cunt in order to stop people from saying it. Because apparently it hurts someone's feelings. Maybe your feelings. You know, you may not like people using those words, but people will use those words, okay? I have seen Indian people call Pakistanis Pakis. Do you know why they say that? Because they don't like each other. Or maybe they just don't like that particular person, so they call him that. Are you going to say they're as bad as skinheads, you know, hurting their families in the 70s and 80s? Or not? You wouldn't, would you?
They're the same person to me.
They isn't though, are they?
There are men out there who preach feminism, but they are reproducing patriarchal values more so than people that aren't talking about feminism.
Oh, it seems we've got the naughty Scotsman around here. Oh my God. There's male feminists who are spreading patriarchy. Patriarchy is not a disease. It is something that does not exist. But, you know, whatever. I've already discussed that. How exactly are they doing this? What are they doing? What could they possibly be doing that could be causing the patriarchy so much help? What could be causing us in the patriarchy to be much stronger than you? You feminist.